నమస్తే వెల్కమ్ టు మన టీవీ ఇండియన్ హిస్టరీ అనే స్పెషల్ లైవ్ షోకి స్వాగతం. ఈ రోజు మనం ఇండియన్ హిస్టరీలో గురుకుల మెయిన్స్ ఎగ్జామ్స్ లో భాగంగా భారతదేశ చరిత్రకు సంబంధించి కాకతీయుల కాలం నాటి వాణిజ్య పరిశ్రమ మిగిలిన ఎపిసోడ్ లో మనం గత ఎపిసోడ్ లో ఇటువంటివన్నీ డిస్కస్ చేసుకున్నాం. మిగిలిన టాపిక్స్ అన్ని కూడా ఈ రోజు డిస్కస్ చేసుకుందాం. అయితే దీని గురించి మనకి ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయడానికి జితేందర్ రెడ్డి గారు సబ్జెక్ట్ ఎక్స్పర్ట్ మనతో ఉన్నారు. పరిచయం చేసుకుందాం. నమస్తే అండి. సో కాకతీయుల కాలం నాటి పరిశ్రమలు వాణిజ్య పరిస్థితుల గురించి ఒకసారి చెప్పండి.
So at the time of the Kakatiyas, the Telangana is famous for the different industries like sarees and other dress materials. So actually in the ancient times, this Telangana is famous for the Kalankari sarees and the thin cloths. So Marco Polo, the Venice traveler, he visited the court of Rudramadevi and he told about the different material, different cloths and sarees. So he told that in the part of Kakatiya kingdom, the Mysoliya was one of the area. The Mysoliya is the famous for the cloths. He given this information. And Palkurki Somanatha, one of the greatest poet at the time of the Kakatiyas, Palkurki Somanatha, in his book Kakatiyula Charithra, he mentioned about the 20 types of the cloths. And Orugallu was famous for the rugs and makmal cloths. And another important industries are the iron industry, yet famous for the and Guttikonda and Palnat Sima. This iron industry famous for these two areas, and knives are the famous for this Damascus knives are famous in those days. These knives are available at Nirmal, and diamond mines located at Golconda and Rayalaseema area. And in those days, the Gurujala was present. Gurujala in Macharla region, the Gurujala was called as Vajrapuri. The Marco Polo mentioned that there were diamond industries in Golconda. So the Golconda was famous for the diamond industries. And in those days, the trade is highly flourished at the time of the Kakatiyas. There is two types of the trade. One is the internal trade and another one is the external trade. So the trade was handled by the Vaishyas and Balija Settis. Vaishyas and Balija Settis, the two communities, they carried the trade, and trading was done through the trading community, and actually the internal trade carried through the guilds. The guild means the different professional groups. Each professional group, they formed in one guild. Guild means association. And their president also there. His name is Sreshti. In Telugu, so this guild was known as in Telugu, that is the Sreni, and each Sreni had the one Sreshti. He is the president of the guild. The internal trade carried through the guild system. So during the period of the Kakatiyas, the traders were divided into number of groups, different communities. These communities are the Swadeshi and Ubayadeshi and Paradeshi, Nakaram, Nandeshi, Pekundru, and these are the communities of the trade communities in those days. The beginning trading of community was, so the biggest community was the Sarvadeshiya Sahasra Teliki. Sarvadeshiya Sahasra Teliki was the biggest this trading community in those days. So examiners, then generally examination, they are asking about which is the biggest trading community at the time of the Kakatiyas. So they given the alternatives, that is the Sarvadeshiya Sahasra Teliki is the one of the answer, that is the correct answer. And at time of the Kakatiyas, the business was there. The business is highly flourished at the time of the Kakatiyas. So there is international trade also there, and number of books are mentioned about the trading system in those days. Vijnaneshwaramu said, Vijnaneshwaramu was one of the famous book. This book said that the interest rate in those days was 12% of interest. 12% of interest. In foreign trade was carried out with different countries of the world. That is, they are the China, Persia, Arabia, Sri Lanka, and East Indian islands. The Motupalli was the famous port in those days. Already I told about the Ganapat Deva. Ganapat Deva issued the Motupalli proclamation in 1244. I told about the Motupalli proclamation. Because the foreign trade was highly flourished, that's why the Ganapat Deva, he encouraged the foreign trade. That's why he issued the Motupalli proclamation or Motupalli Abhayasasanam in Telugu or Motupalli inscription. In this inscription, Ganapat Deva guaranteed the foreign traders not to harass the local officials. He invited the foreign traders to his country and did the business. So that's why he issued the Motupalli proclamation. And another ports also there at the time of the Kakatiyas. These ports are the Motupalli, Krishnapatnam, Amsaladevi and Machilipatnam. These are the important ports. Among these ports, Motupalli is very, very important port in those days for the foreign trade. So these port cities were known as Karapatanas. What is the Karapatanas? What is the Karapatanas? He asked, what is the Karapatanas? Karapatanas means the port cities. One of the options is the port cities. And in those days, they had the number of coins. Different coins are there at the time of the Kakatiyas. Main coin at the time of the Kakatiyas was the Gajjanam. Gajjanam was the gold coin. So, number of times they are asking in different examinations regarding this question. Gajjanam was the coin in which period? In whose period? So, the Gajjanam was at the time of the Kakatiyas. This Gajjanam was known as gold coin. So, the Gajjanam, sometimes it is also called as Niskamu Mada. Sometimes, but most of the times this is the Gajjanam. And the second coin is the Ruka. Ruka means, that is the Ruka means silver coin. One Mada equal to 10 Rukas. So, this much of this measurement was mentioned in the Bapatla inscription. And so these are the trading conditions and industries and trading conditions at time of the Kakatiyas.
Okay. So alage Kakatiyula కాలం నాటి సాంఘిక పరిస్థితులు ఏ విధంగా ఉన్నాయి?
Alage. So the social conditions at the time of the Kakatiyas, actually the Kakatiyas, there is a Varna system, there is 4 Varnas in the society in those days. These 4 Varnas are the first one is the Brahmins, and second one is the Kshatriyas, and third one is the Vaishyas, and fourth one is Sudras. But the Brahmins are they are the custodians of the learning, they are the priests, and Kshatriyas, they are the rulers, and Vaishyas, they did the agriculture and trade and commerce. But the Sudras, and they acted as agricultural labor and industrial labor, and they served about 3 communities. This is the system. But at the time of the Kakatiyas, the difference is there, because the Kakatiyas are not Kshatriyas. The Kakatiyas are the Sudras. The Kakatiyas, they are the Sudras, they came into power. And these Kakatiyas, so this is one of the question. Who the Kakatiyas are, the Kakatiyas were. The alternate is given. They are the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras. The Kakatiyas are, the answer is the Sudras. This question is given number of times in the different examinations. This is very, very important question. And Kakatiyas are the Sudras. And in those days, women was entered first time. In those days, the women property right was issued at the time of the first time issued at the time of the Kakatiyas, because the Vijnaneswaram one of the important book. This book mentioned about the women property. There is 5 types of women properties mentioned in the Vijnaneswaram. The first time the women property right was issued at the time of the Kakatiyas. This is the first time. Before Kakatiyas, there is no women property. So, first time the women property was recognized and issued first time. This much of information mentioned in the one of the important book, that is the Vijnaneswaram. So, this book described about the women property. There is 5 types of the 5 divisions of women property. So, this is the women property. And next, caste system was not eradicated. Caste system increased. Caste system increased. The Kakatiyas actually, instead of new castes came up with the already. So, the new castes are the Veerashaiva and Veerashaiva new castes like Balija, Satani, Lingayat, Tumbals, Nambalulu, Dasarulu and Chettada Vaishnavalu. These are the important castes came into existence at time of the Kakatiyas. And the subcaste came up in Brahmins, Kshatriyas and Sudras. There is a Varna system. In Brahmins, there is a subcaste came into existence at time of the Kakatiyas. From Kshatriyas also, the subcaste introduced. The subcaste came into existence. And Sudras also, and Sudra community also, there are number of different subcastes came into existence at time of the Kakatiyas. The inscriptions and the literature of those mentioned about they are the Ashtadasha people. Ashtadasha people means there is 18 castes. Ashtadasha means 18 castes in those days. And these books and inscriptions also mentioned about the Ashtadasha castes or the 18 castes at the time of the Kakatiyas. The caste system was more strengthened. Caste system was not decreased. Caste system became very strong and strengthened. The intercaste marriages took place only the upper categories only. Who are the upper categories? Brahmins and Kshatriyas are the upper categories. Vaishyas and Sudras are the lower categories. So, these intercaste marriages took place among the only the upper caste people. Upper caste people means Brahmins and Kshatriyas. Another feature of the Kakatiya period was the formation of the caste-based organizations. Caste-based organizations, the new system came into existence at time of the Kakatiyas, caste-based organizations. So, these caste-based organizations were known as Samayamu. This was called as caste-based organization was called as Samayamu. There is a different Samayams in those at the time of the Kakatiyas, where various caste communities, each caste community was known as Samayam. That is the name of the Samayam. And each caste and each community, they had the different their Samayas, their caste associations are Samayas. So, the Brahmins association, the Brahmins caste association was called as Mahajana Samayam, Mahajanulu, that is the Brahmin caste association, Mahajana Samayam. And Vaishyas caste association, Samayam, this Vaishyas Samayam was known as Nakaram. And so, the Nakaram, sometimes they asked about the Nakaram. What is the Nakaram? What is the Nakaram? Nakaram was the caste association or Samayam of the Vaishyas. That is the answer. And Vaishnava Samayalu and Saiva and Vaishnava religions also there at time of the Kakatiyas. This Saiva and Vaishnava Samayas and they maintained separate Samayas, the caste associations. They are maintaining these Vaishnavas and Saivas, they maintaining the temples also. They maintaining the temples in those days. The Brahmin domination reduced in the society because the rulers are the Sudras. That's why the Brahmins' power was reduced. The Brahmins' domination was reduced at time of the Kakatiyas. This in the society. In Vaidika Yoga, the sects came into existence from the Brahmin category. The Brahmin caste, the new subcaste came into existence. These subcastes are the Vaidika, Yoga. These are the two sects came into existence. And many subcastes developed at the time of the Kakatiyas. The power went into the hands of the Sudras. So the Kakatiyas are the Sudras. The Kshatriyas developed. What is the profession of Kshatriyas at the time of the Kakatiyas? So before Kakatiyas, the Kshatriyas are the rulers, ruling class. But at the time of Kakatiyas, the Kakatiyas they are not Sudras. They are the only, they are Sudras. So the Kshatriyas they lost their importance. They lost their kingdom and they lost their importance. That's why the Kshatriyas developed relationship with Sudras. There were heavy land donations. The subcastes, they record this a subcaste Kayastha came into existence at time of the Kakatiyas. Subcaste, that is the Kayastha subcaste came into existence at time of the Kakatiyas. And superstitious rituals like compulsory widowhood, child marriages, and Kanya Sulkamu, and Sati practice, and Sati practice are there at time of the Kakatiyas. These are the social rituals, social evils at time of the Kakatiyas. And Devadasi, Basvi, and prostitutes, they had the high respect in the society. These are the people, Devadasi, Basvi, prostitutes. Devadasi means, so some of the women, they dedicated to the God. They are the Devadasis. Or Basvi also, same meaning. Basvi, some of the girls in early age, they are dedicated to the Lord Shiva. Shiva's name is Basava. So they are called as Basvi. These Devadasis, Basvis, and prostitutes had highest respect in the society at the time of Kakatiyas. So the girls were dedicated to the Shiva temples. They are the Basvis. These girls were in early age, the girls were dedicated to the Shiva temples in the name of Basvis. And they dedicated their life, these girls, they dedicated their life to let the Shiva and gradually became prostitutes. So the high society people were kings, high society people and rich people, kings, they used donate Devadasis and dancers to the temple. They used Devadasis and dancers to the temples. The Vaishyas were experts in literature, music, dance, etc. And they honored the poets and writers. And in Kridabhiramam was written by the Venukonda Vallabhacharya. Kridabhiramamu is the important book in those days. Kridabhiramam was one of the drama. This Kridabhiramamu was the important book. This Kridabhiramamu described about the social life of Haramakkonda people. The Kridabhiramamu, it is written that Prataparudra's concubine Machala Devi was great than the Delhi Suradani. Delhi Suradani was the famous in those days, but Machala Devi was the concubine of Prataparudra. Who is the Prataparudra? The last ruler of the Kakatiya kingdom. The Prataparudra concubine name is Machala Devi. Machala Devi, she is the greater than the Delhi Suradani. This much of information mentioned in the Venukonda Vallabhacharya's Kridabhiramam. And Tirthas and Tirunalalu were were very popular in those days. Tirtha Yatra, Tirthas and Tirunal was famous for in those days. These two are very popular in those days, and a number of festivals celebrated by the people. These festivals are the Durgastami and Deepavali and Sankranti, Ugadi and Sankranti, Ugadi, Shivaratri, Iruvaka. These are all the festivals celebrated in those days. And Palkurki Somanada mentioned about described the celebrations of the Mahashivaratri at Srisailam. The Srisailam he mentioned about in his book. Palkurki Somanada was one of the greatest poets at the time of Seva poets at the time of the Kakatiyas. He mentioned about what is the importance of Mahashivaratri festival. How it celebrated at Srisailam in his writings, in his books. So these are the social conditions at time of the Kakatiyas.
Okay. So alage కాకతీయుల కాలం నాటి మత పరిస్థితుల గురించి ఒకసారి చెప్పండి.
At the time of the Kakatiyas, the religion is important. So during those times, there were conflict between the Veerasaiva and Veera Vaishnavism sects at time of the Kakatiyas. And Hanamakonda was famous in Jain center at the time of 800 AD. So first we will discuss about the Jainism. What is the position of Jainism at the time of the Kakatiyas? So the early Kakatiya, actually the Hanamakonda was famous for Jaina center at the time of the 800 AD, during the period of 800 AD. So the early rulers, initially the Kakatiya rulers, and already I told about the Kakatiyas, there is two types of the rulers, some of the earlier Kakatiyas and some other are the later Kakatiyas. In early Kakatiyas, they followed the Digambara sect of Jainism. In Jainism, there is two sects. Already Jainism was found by Mahavira. After the death of Mahavira, there is a conflict between two groups. One is the that's why the Jain religion was divided into two parts. One is Digambara and another one is Shvetambara. So Digambara, actually Digambara sect was popular in Digambara and Shvetambara sects also popular in Telugu speaking areas. But the early Kakatiya rulers, they followed the Digambara sect of Jainism. So if the examiner asks this like this, so who followed the Kakatiyas, the early Kakatiyas, they followed among below this religion, this religion. And this question, so they give the different religions, Shaivism, Vaishnavism and Veerasaivism and Digambara sect and Shvetambara sect. This is the alternatives. So the Digambara sect of Jainism, the early Kakatiya rulers, they followed the Digambara sect of Jainism. So there are number of centers, there are number of important Jaina centers in Telugu speaking areas. These important Jaina centers are the first center is Bodhan. Bodhan is the famous for the famous center for the Jainism. And second one is the Potla Cheru. Potla Cheru means in those called now present Patan Cheru near Hyderabad. This Patan Cheru was called as Potla Cheru in those days. And the third one is the Vemulavada. And the fourth one is the Kollipaka. Kollipaka means present Kolanpaka in Nalgonda district. So this Kollipaka. The Kollipaka is the famous Shvetambara Jaina center. And the fifth one is the Hanamakonda. Hanamakonda is also the popular Jaina center. And sixth one is the Vardhamanapuram. And seventh one is the Alampuram. And eighth one is the Potlapalli. These are the famous Jaina centers at time of the Kakatiyas. So the Kakatiyas, the wife, so the Prolaraju, one of the ruler in early Kakatiyas, the Prolaraju Raju's minister name is Betana. So this is Minister Betana. his wife, Betana's wife name is Mailama. This Mailama, she built a Jaina, for Jains, a restroom named Kadalalaya Basati at Hanamakonda. Kadalalaya Basati at Hanamakonda. So the Betana's wife, Mailama, she built for Jains for a restroom named Kadalalaya Basadi at Hanamakonda. Who built Kadalalaya Basadi? Question: who built the Kadalalaya Basadi? So Mailama built the Kadalalaya Basadi. And Jainism could not attract and convince the people. That's why that is in decline position at the time of the later Kakatiyas. But early Kakatiyas, the Jainism is in good condition, but in later Kakatiyas period, up to the later Kakatiyas period, Jainism is decline position, because Jainism, the Jains, they could not attract and convince the people. That's why that religion declined. So people were attracted to Shaivism, Vaishnavism. People were attracted to the Shaivism and Vaishnavism. So Shaivites, who are the Shaivites? Who worshipped Shiva, they are the Shaivites. Who worshipped the Vishnu, they are the Vaishnavites. But these two religions, Shaivism and Vaishnavism, these two religions attracted to the people. So this Mallikarjuna Panditaraja and Kalamuka Shaivas and Veera Shaivas, these are all the people, they are the responsible for the decline of the Jainism in Kakatiya kingdom. So the Mallikarjuna Panditaraja was one of the Shaiva teacher, and Kalamuka Shaivas, Veera Shaivas, these are the different sects in Shaivism. These two sects and Mallikarjuna Panditaraja, these three are the responsible for the decline of the Jainism in Telugu speaking areas in Kakatiya period. Even the Jainism could not completely collapse at time of the Kakatiyas, but Jainism is there, but not in good condition. Jains were there at Orugallu. Now after later Kakatiyas period also they are at Orugallu. During the Prataparudra's time, who is the Prataparudra? He was the last ruler of the Kakatiya kingdom. At the time during the Prataparudra's time, Appayarya wrote a scripture. Appayarya wrote a book, that is the Jithendar Reddy. This Appayarya was the Jaina poet. He wrote Jithendar Reddy. So this who wrote Jithendar Reddy? This is the question. Answer is the Appayarya. Appayarya wrote Jithendar Reddy. During the Kakatiyas, the Shaivism is highly flourished at the time of the Kakatiyas, because the Kakatiyas, the later Kakatiyas, they patronized Shaivism. They followed, they patronized, they encouraged the Shaivism. They are the honored the Shaivism. The kings and common people, these are all the people, every man, they followed and honored and encouraged this Shaiva religion, Shaiva sect of Shaiva religion. According to the Tripurantakamu and Malkapuram inscriptions, during the Ganapati Deva and Rudrama Devi's period, the Kalamuka, Pasupata, Shaivism was, and Kapalika, Yamila, Siddhi sects are very popular at time of this period. Because these are all the inscriptions, some of the inscriptions, that is, these inscriptions are the Tripurantakam and Malkapuram inscriptions, mentioned about the development of how to increase the Shaivism in the place of Jainism, how to develop the Shaivism in the place of the Jainism. These are all the inscriptions, they are mentioned. So there are number of sects in Shaivism. After that, this Shaivism, after that there are number of sects in Shaivism. Totally there are 64 sects in Shaivism. Among 64, there is a 5 or 6 are at the time of the Kakatiyas. These sects are the Kalamuka, Pasupata and Vaishna and Kapalika and Yamila Siddhi sects are important in time of the Kakatiyas. Another sects also there in time of the Kakatiyas, that is the Veerasaiva, Arajyasaiva, Golaki Matas. These are the important at time of the Kakatiyas. And the Kalamuka Saivism was popular during 10th century AD. The Kalamuka sect, one of the sect of Saivism is the Kalamuka Saivism. Kalamuka sect of Saivism was very popular during the 10th century AD. During the regime of Ganapati Deva, the Golaki Mata was very popular. Golaki Mata was very popular. So the Golaki Mata was maintained by his Saiva teacher. Ganapati Deva, he followed the Saivism. He followed the Saivism. His Saiva teacher name is Vishweshwara Shambhu or Vishweshwara Shivudu. This Vishweshwara Shivudu, he maintained the Golaki Matas. He maintained the Golaki Matas. But Vishweshwara Shambhu's father, Sadbhava Shambhu, he discovered the Golaki Matas at Dandakaranya forest. And after that, Vishweshwara Shambhu also maintained this Golaki Matas. But Ganapati Deva and Rudramadevi and last ruler Prataparudra, these three are the students of the Vishweshwara Shambhu. Vishweshwara Shambhu. These three are the encouraged the Pasupata Saiva sect of Saivism and Golaki Matas. Vishweshwara Shambhu, they donated number of villages to the Vishweshwara Shambhu. And they had Golaki Matas, Vishweshwara Shambhu, and after that Vishweshwara Shambhu, he discovered number of Golaki Matas in Kakatiya kingdom, Kakatiya empire. The Golaki Matas are the first Mata at Draksharamam and second Mata at Mandadam. This Mandadam in those days called as Mandaram. And third one is Triprantakam, and fourth one is Srisailam, and fifth one is the Pushpagiri. These are the Golaki Matas developed by the Vishweshwara Shambhu, who was the teacher of Ganapati Deva and other rulers and other successive rulers. So the Vishweshwara Shambhu maintained these all the Golaki Matas. And Rudramadevi donated Mandaram village to the Vishweshwara Shambhu. That is, the Mandara means Mandadam in those days. So Rudramadevi donated Mandaram village to the Vishweshwara Shambhu. Vishweshwara Shambhu, he established in Mandaram village, there is educational institutions and he provided free meals for all the people, and he maintained one hospital at Mandaram. And he also introduced, he also established number of matas at Kaleshwaram. Kaleshwaram Matam is Avara Kala Matam, and other matas are developed by the Vishweshwara Shambhu. And Vishweshwara Shambhu was the Shiva, Shiva Guru of the Rudramadevi and Prataparudra also. Malkapuram inscription, this much of information mentioned in the Malkapuram inscription of Rudramadevi. Rudramadevi's inscription name is Malkapuram inscription. Malkapuram inscription described about the this Vishweshwara Shambhu's Golaki Matas. Or the Vishweshwara Shambhu was the teacher of Rudramadevi, Ganapati Deva, Rudramadevi and Prataparudra also. So this already I told, this Mandara village given and Rudramadevi also not only give the Mandara village to the Vishweshwara Shambhu, but also Velagapudi and Krishna Lanka, and these are the villages to the Vishweshwara Shambhu. First one is the Mandaram or Mandadam, second one is the Velagapudi, and third one is the Krishna Lanka. These three villages Rudramadevi donated to the Vishweshwara Shambhu for the maintenance of his matas, his Golaki matas. So this Veerasaivism was also popular at time of the Kakatiyas, because Veerasaivism was discovered by the Basaveshwara at Karnataka. But in Karnataka, this is not popular, but in Telugu speaking areas was very popular. Veerasaivism very popular in Telugu speaking areas. So this Basaveshwara in his Veerasaivism sect, he opposed the caste system. He questioned the dominance. He questioned the dominance of the Brahmins, and he opposed the child marriages and supported to the widow marriages. And the disciples or the students of his followers, the Basaveshwara followers, were called as Veerasaiva. Veerasaivates are the Lingayats. They are called Veerasaivas and are Lingayats. So the Veerasaivism was also popular, and the emblem of the Veerasaivism very flourished, highly flourished at the time of the Kakatiyas. This Veerasaivism very popular. But after that, Vaishnavism. This is the Saivism, development of Saivism at the time of the Kakatiyas, and third religion is the Vaishnavism. Vaishnavism was also popular at the time of the Kakatiyas. The emblem of the Kakatiyas was Varaham. Their emblem, Kakatiyas emblem was the Varaham. Varaham symbol can be seen on their official papers and coins. So that's why at the time of the Kakatiyas, Vaishnavism also very popular religion. So they installed Vishnu ideals. So these Kakatiya rulers, they installed Vishnu ideals in Trikuta temples. Already I told about Trikuta temple. One of the temple in Rudraswara temple at Armakonda, that is 1,000-pillar temple at Armakonda, built by Rudradeva or Prataparudra I. And he built this temple in 1163 AD. And in this temple there is 3 deities. One is the Shiva, Rudra, Shiva, and second one is the sun god, and third one is the Keshava. That is the Vaishnava and Vishnu. That's why. So there is 3 gods. That is Trikuta temple. There are number of Trikuta temples at time of the during the period of the Kakatiyas. Or they built number of Trikuta temples. But this 1,000-pillared or Rudraswara temple is very popular temple. That's why I told about this temple. That is Trikuta temple. From the southern side, Vaishnavism entered into the Andhra country. From the southern side, from south, Vaishnavism was very popular in Tamil Nadu and other parts of the South India. Vaishnavism from South India, southern part, this Vaishnavism entered into the Andhra. And in Telangana, the non-Brahmin followers of Ramanuja were called as Dasarlu and Satanulu. During the time of the Rudramadevi, Vaishnavism is very popular at time of the Rudramadevi. The satrapas of Kakatiyas followed Vaishnavism, and Brahmanayudu was one of the one of the minister at time of the Kakatiya. He was the contemporary of the Rudradeva. This Brahmanayudu was the minister of Nalagavaraju, who is the ruler of the Palnadu. Their capital is Gurujala. So the Brahmanayudu was the great reformer. The Brahmanayudu he promoted Veera Vaishnavism, and he condemned the caste system in Palnadu region, and he tried to reform the society. And he also encouraged the combined mills, and he also permitted to enter the Dalits to the different temples. So he was a great reformer during this period. The Palnadu Brahmanayudu. This Palnadu Brahmanayudu belonged in which period? This is the question. Palnadu Brahmanayudu, he belonged to the period of Kakatiyas, Vijayanagaras, and Eastern Chalukyas of Vengi and Western Chalukyas of Kalyani. This is the alternatives given. So the Brahmanayudu was the contemporary of the Kakatiyas. So the Brahmanayudu he also opposed the untouchability and allowed them into temples. So, and Rudradeva he built Seva and Keshava and sun temples at Armakonda. There are built number of temples, 3 god temples, Shiva, Keshava and sun temples at Armakonda. Already I told about 1,000-pillar temple at Armakonda by Rudradeva. So the minister of Rudradeva, the minister of Rudradeva, his name is Gangadhara. Gangadhara built Prasanna Kesava temple. Gangadhara built Prasanna Kesava temple at Anamakonda. Rudradeva built Prasanna Kesava temple at Anamakonda. Rudradeva minister, so his minister name is Gangadhara. Gangadhara built Prasanna Kesava temple at Anamakonda. Prasanna Kesava temple at Anamakonda. Who built Prasanna Kesava temple at Anamakonda? Generally asked, who built Prasanna Kesava temple? Gangadhara built Prasanna Kesava temple. And Gangadhara was built and another temple, Vishnu temple at Naganuru. And Koranapalli inscription says that in 1321 this belonged to the Prataparudra's inscription, that is the Koranapalli inscription, made some donations of Prasanna Kesava temple. Some donations. Prataparudra donated some villages or some material or money to the Prasanna Kesava temple. So this information mentioned in Prataparudra's inscription, that is the Koranapalli inscription. So this is the religion conditions at the time of the Kakatiyas.
ఓకే సో అలాగే కాకతీయుల కాలం నాటి విద్యా వ్యవస్థ గురించి దాంతో పాటుగా సాహిత్య అభివృద్ధి గురించి కూడా ఒకసారి తెలియజేయండి.
అలాగే at the time of the Kakatiyas, the education system, the educational institutions at the time of the Kakatiyas, the educational institutions are known as Vidya Mandapas. Vidya Mandapas are the educational institutions at the time of the Kakatiyas. And actually the official language of the Kakatiyas was the Sanskrit. The official language of the state was Sanskrit at the time of the Kakatiyas. There are number of education centers during the Kakatiya period. These education centers, the education institutions was known as Mandapas, Vidya Mandapas. So the question asked, what is the Vidya Mandapas? What is the Mandapa? Vidya Mandapas means educational institutions. Vidya Mandapas are the educational institutions. Which time, this much of question also asked about the Vidya Mandapas belong to the Kakatiya period. And what is the official language of the Kakatiyas? This is the question. What is the official language of the Kakatiyas? Official language of the Kakatiyas are the Sanskrit, Prakrit, Telugu and Pali. These are the answers. So that is the answer is the Sanskrit is the official language of the Kakatiyas. These centers are mainly associated, these are the education institutions, education centers, Vidya Mandapas are associated, mainly they are associated with the important temples. The literary discussions, religious discussions and took place in all these centers. Religious discussions and different literary discussions are made in these centers. So there were education centers at Mandadam and Pushpagiri. There is two important education centers at time of the Kakatiyas are these two are the, number one is the Mandadam and the second one is the Pushpagiri. These two are the important education centers at time of the Kakatiyas. In Vedic schools, mathematics, astrology and Ayurveda were taught in these Vedic schools. However, the education was confined to high caste people only. Only education was available only for the high class people. So who are the high class people? They are the Brahmins and Kshatriyas. The Brahmins or Kshatriyas are the eligible for the education in those days. And who are the rich people also, they are eligible for the education. But generally, these Brahmins and Kshatriyas, they are the upper varnas, they are eligible for the education system. They are eligible for the education. The remaining people, they are not eligible for the education. The Malkapuram inscription, The Malkapuram inscription of Rudramadevi in 1261 explains explain about the education centers at time of the Kakatiyas. So, which inscription of the Kakatiyas mentioned about the education of the education? This is the question. Answer is the Malkapuram inscription. And Vishweshwara Shambhu. So, Vishweshwara Shambhu, already I told about Vishweshwara Shambhu. Vishweshwara Shambhu was the Shiva Guru teacher of the Rudramadevi, Ganapati Deva and Prataparudra. The Vishweshwara Shambhu, he received Mandaram village as a donation, and already I told about this Mandaram village and Vishweshwara Golaki Mata there. He constructed this Vishweshwara Shambhu. He also constructed one Vedic school or center. He constructed one education institution at Mandaram. The Vedic education system in grammar, medicine and logic was taught in this center. And Kakatiyas honored many scholars. Kakatiyas, they are honored many scholars. Like at the time of the Kakatiyas, the literature is very highly developed. Literature was highly developed because the Kakatiya rulers, some of the rulers, they are the poets, and they patronized many poets. At the time of Kakatiyas, different languages are developed. The first language is Sanskrit and the second language is Telugu, and these are two languages are developed at the time of the Kakatiyas. The first language Sanskrit, there are number of Sanskrit poets. There are number of Sanskrit poets at time of the Kakatiyas. These Sanskrit poets they wrote number of books in Sanskrit language, and the Telugu poets, there are number of Telugu poets are there. The Telugu poets are important poets in those days. These are all the Telugu poets and Sanskrit poets patronized and encouraged by the Kakatiyas. The Kakatiya Rudra, Kakatiya already, this Prataparudra, one or Rudradeva, he was a great poet. He wrote Niti Saramu in Sanskrit language. He wrote Niti Saramu in Sanskrit language. Who wrote Niti Saramu? That is the question is the Rudradeva, he wrote Niti Saramu in Sanskrit language. Agastya was one of the greatest poet at time of the Kakatiya. This Agastya, he was the great Sanskrit poet. This Agastya, he wrote nearly 75 books in Sanskrit language. So this Agastya, he was the court poet of Prataparudra. He wrote 75 books. There is 3 books are important to the Agastyas. These 3 books are the first one is the Nalakirti Kaumudi, and the second one is the Bala Bharatamu. First one is Nalakirti Kaumudi, second one is Bala Bharatamu, and third one is the Krishna Charithra. These 3 books are important. But Agastya, he was the great poet. He wrote 75 books in Sanskrit language. So the daughter-in-law of Vijayanagara king, there is a Bukka. The Vijayanagara ruler name is Bukka. His daughter-in-law name is Ganga Devi. So the Ganga Devi, she also student of Agastya. This is Ganga Devi. She wrote Madhura Vijayam. She is Ganga Devi. So he belonged to the Varugallu. She is the student of the this Agastya, who wrote the 75 books in Sanskrit language. And this time Sakalya Mallabhattu was another important poet. This Sakalya Mallabhattu wrote 3 books. One is the Udatta Ragavam, and the second one is Niroshna Ramayanam. These 2 are the important books. Udatta Ragavam, Niroshna Ramayanam are the 2 important books written by the Sakalya Mallabhattu. And Vijjanada was another important poet at the time of the Kakatiyas. Vijjanada was the court poet of Prataparudra II, the last ruler of the Kakatiya kingdom. So this Vijayanath was the Prataparudra, he was the court poet of Prataparudra, and this Vijayanath, he wrote a book that is the Prataparudra Yashobhushanam. Prataparudra Yashobhushanam. This book is the grammar book of this Prataparudra Yashobhushanam. In this book, Vijayanath, he praised, in this book, Vijayanath, he praised his master. Whose master? So this Prataparudra. Prataparudras. So this Vijayanath, he praised Prataparudra in this book. In his book, Nataka Prakarana, he explained about the 10 features of drama. 10 features of the drama. This is the grammar book.
ఓకే, సో జితేంద్ర గారు, కాకతీయ కాలం నాటి కొన్ని విషయాల గురించి మనం ఈరోజు డిస్కస్ చేసుకున్నాం. ఇంకా మనకి టాపిక్స్ కూడా మిగిలిపోయినాయి, అవి మనం వచ్చే క్లాస్లో డిస్కస్ చేసుకుందాం. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. ఇది మన టీవీ ప్రత్యేక కార్యక్రమం. కీప్ వాచింగ్ మన టీవీ. అట్లా సెట్ చేయమంటున్నారా?
మొన్నటి వరకు అంతే కదా.
లేదు, మొన్న అక్కడ ఎలా వస్తుందో ఇక్కడ అలా చూపిస్తాం అంతే. మొన్నటి వరకు